We're going to go to items requiring individual action, non-consent. Proposed resolution number 19069, a resolution authorizing an agreement between the City of Port Arthur, Texas, and Strategic Government Resources for the provision of an interim finance director in an amount not to exceed $148.71.42 annually. Account number 001-1030-515-59-00. Councilmember Hamilton?
Make a motion for the floor.
Councilmember Lewis? That we approve proposed resolution of 19069. Questions? Coach? Let us have your name and address for the record.
Protocol has already been established. I'm James Gamble. I live at 268 Linkwood, Port Arthur, Texas, 77640. My concern this evening is that we are going to spend a lot of money on an interim director. We're talking about $148,000 plus housing and transportation, which, you know, I'm not a finance person myself, but my little figures add up to right around $160,000 per year when we put all of that together. And I want to know from the council whether or not knowledge of finance director salaries in other cities, the same size as Port Arthur. That's my question. Because the second part is in keeping with the abatements that we have granted industrial entities. Have we or did we make an effort to hire an interim director from the city of Port Arthur or even from the county, which could save us a great deal of money?
And City Manager, you're going to have to answer that.
Councilors, we have before you a contract with SGR, Strategic Government Resources. They have retired finance directors that have expressed an interest in going to places where there's a need. This contract before you is for $148,000. We will use the remaining personnel dollars that are in this year's expenses and potentially make a transfer if we have to for travel expenses. 25% of the $148,000 resources for the things that you see in the contract that they do on our behalf. They found them, they interviewed them, they did the background check. You have to got somebody in a position that's dealing with monies. We have a point now where we're at a point that needs to be finished up and adopted by the end of September. So we're kind of in a time crunch here. So no, there was no looking at other positions or otherwise. I simply called a consultant that provides these services and asked them to provide me with. Frankly, when I do go to recruit for the finance director for this position, our former finance director's salary was not as I'm going to have to advertise for more. This particular position, the $148,000, I do not anticipate that for. So hopefully by the first of the year or so, depending on the candidates that come in, that's kind of what I'm looking at. So roughly we'd be looking at half. I hope that answers your questions, Madam Mayor, and if there's any others, I'll be glad to take those.
Well, he's the one asking the question, and I guess in my head I've got the same question that he has.
Well, Madam Mayor, I'm the issue. I'm just telling you what the issue is. And
no. Wait, hold it. I'm not talking about a debate. He's the one that asked the question. He's not. Neither am I. I had the same question that he had. Basically the same questions that he had. Are you, Coach, are you okay with?
I'm okay. I'm okay. My question was basically manager, but it was to the council, to everyone here, you know. So if that's okay with the council, I'm just talking about my dissatisfaction with it, the way it appeared to me, because when I figured it up, it was maybe 107 for that amount. So I'm gonna just accept what has been said, but I just want to know if council is aware of all of that. Did that answer some questions for them?
And I guess and back to the statement that he made in reference to us always encouraging the hiring of people from this area. Did SGR look for someone from this area that we could have hired where dollars paying for round trip? And this has nothing to do with an individual. This has something to do with the contract that's before us. For round trip every week to Houston or wherever it is, and then having to pay for a hotel room when the possibilities are that they could have looked for someone in this area. So that's what I mean, we've been encouraging Port Arthur Harris, if it was Beaumont or some other, Mr. Manager.
I talked with STR about different candidates. 2 of them were in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The 3rd one was in the Houston area. In terms of expenses, hotel rooms, that type of thing, interim living expenses, those would be the same whether I brought somebody in from Houston or from Fort Worth or Dallas or Houston. In terms of travel, it's less in terms of paying for mileage back and forth to Houston. So, and this individual, given his reason why I felt like he was the most important person for the job is municipal finance is very, very, very specialized. If we have somebody else is trained in municipal finance, they're probably retired here in Port Arthur, but I don't know of them.
Well,
and
that's
municipal
where you
experience
got
would be,
SGR.
and so I asked SG on my behalf to find out got the qualifications to get us through this short term.
And I'm just asking, did they find anybody in this area?
I'm not aware that they knew in Port Arthur that was and available.
It's just kind of hard for me to believe that we don't have any qualified people who could work as interim finance directors. And instead, we're spending all of these time. And I'm just expressing how I feel. We're spending how much.
I've been talking to Tammy about it. I kind of turned it over to her. We can get government rates anywhere from $70 to $80 a night, maybe $85 a night. So, and this individual will probably be working a bit from well. So we're really only most of the time until we get the budget adopted. There's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done. Once we get the budget adopted, that'll ease off a little bit. So probably 3 to 4 nights a week at standard rate of.
So if you're saying, okay, we can estimate about $500 a week for hotel room, and at the government rate, we may be looking at $130-some a weekend.
Okay.
For
I recently stayed at the Marriott as an example, and I paid $82 a night, $83 a night is the government rate. So roughly. Expenses for automobile to and from Houston from Port Arthur.
and that's about 130-something. So we're looking at about $560 a week times 4. So that's you can't do that. You have to come back. So we're, and at the end of the year, if this till for 12 months, we're spending a lot of taxpayers' dollars, and again, my dissatisfaction, nothing to do with an individual. It has something to do with the amount of money, taxpayers' dollars that we're spending, and we're always advocating for local. Serious problem with this. I have a very serious problem with this. It's just like east to the core of me to know that we're doing this, and as big as I just wonder how is it that they couldn't come up with somebody from this area? I have a serious problem with this. Councilmember Freeman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. City Manager, I'm somewhat dissatisfied, I guess, with it too, on the length of it and the price of it. I know last year, almost 18 months or so, they said somebody we were looking for. The department couldn't find anybody. So I know there's not like we have a line of people waiting to be down the door. But to give someone a 12-month contract, I think we can find somebody quicker than that. And if we don't, I'd like to put some stops in it, maybe 3 months, 6, where we come back and evaluate, see what kind of applicants we have. But just for me personally, for me to just sign off on 12 months, $170,000, $180,000, I'd be more comfortable. I couldn't do it that way. I'd be more comfortable in this, stage and something, get you through the budget cycle, possibly understand there's an emergency, but then after that we start evaluating what kind of applicants we have before the full 180. So I just wanted to put that out there for.
Sure. Appreciate that.
And I agree with Councilmember Freeman.
City Manager, we got basically 2 months before September 31st to get this budget going. We have to get someone in here that fully understands what they're doing, where they can hit the ground running, okay? Have full knowledge, have necessary background and experience to take care of what the manager needs to take care of to get this budget ready for October the 1st. In parallel, the manager can also be out advertising for a permanent person. But as of now, by the time you would advertise locally and all the papers and what have you to try to get someone to apply, and meanwhile the clock is running, we have to, by state, have a budget approved.
September.
We have to have a budget approved October the 1st. That's state law.
No, but the
A
end of
balanced
September.
budget.
The end of September.
September. By
September.
October 1st. By October 1st. Now, what I'm saying and what you're hearing, I don't know. I know what I'm saying, but I can't control. Okay? It has to be in place. September the 31st is the day before the 1st of October. Now, that has to be done. We got some problems internally. I don't know. We may have an estimated $12 million from the sales tax from the state. We don't know when that's going to hit. They're doing their forensic audit now. They may time, but they may ask for their money lump sum. We don't know. And we have to have a balanced budget in September the 31st. That's one day before October the 1st.
Okay, if I can correct yourself. Thank you for correcting yourself. I think we're all saying the same thing, Councilmember Lewis. I mean, well, in essence, we do know that we have to have this balanced budget, and we do know that you need some help in getting that, city manager. That's not what we're saying. Let me go back. If you heard what Councilmember Freeman is saying, it's basically what I'm saying. For maybe 2 or 3 months until we get our budget in, and I know that we have to have that balanced budget in by September 31st. But I mean, for this to last a year or 6 months, something's wrong with that picture if it lasts that long. We should be out looking for someone hotel room for, that we don't have to pay a round trip to wherever every weekend, and that we don't have to pay that kind of money to understand. That's a known fact. So it's not a debate that we're trying to start. Councilmember Mosley.
Thank you, Mayor. Now, last budget cycle, we were behind by some $9 million, and $9 million was taken out of reserve. to balance the budget. We give a city manager a job behind the eight. What he is trying to do is to save us money to find all the problems that are financially killing this city. And for $170,000 that may not even be used, because he's indicated it may be 70 or 50% of that, because he may only use 4, 5, maybe 6 months at the most, to make sure you got somebody in place who's going to do what is absolutely necessary and know absolutely what it is. I think we're pinching pennies here and we're crying about the wrong problem. The problem is he's trying to get us out of a financial hole in a time that would satisfy the taxpayers. And we're going to complain about room rent and travel charges?
Don't mind. You know the protocol in a council meeting, so don't do that.
All I'm saying is this, is that taxpayers' money as much as anybody else. And I think what he has shown here is that he's taken a forward step in trying to help us understand the process, while at the same time trying to solve the problem. And if we're gonna have these kind of what the cost is, we should have been screaming when there was $9 million missing. Here's a chance to clear it up, to get it right. And, yeah. Oh yeah, we took it out of the reserve to balance the budget. So what do you call that? The budget wasn't balanced. The budget was.
First of all, Mr. Mosley, you're
But Mayor, you interrupted me, Mayor,
Mayor,
because.
Yeah, but you've gotten off
Point
the
of order,
subject,
Mayor.
sir. You've
No,
gotten
I'm not
off
going
the
off the subject, Mayor. Me while I have the floor.
Point of order, he has the floor.
He has the floor, but he has to
Point
stay
of order,
on
Mayor.
topic. You have to stay on topic, Mr. Mosley.
Point of order, Mayor.
I've been on top until you began interrupting me and taking the conversation your way.
Mr. Mosley?
So I appreciate it if you give me the same opportunity I did when you spoke. Just let me, and I'll be through.
Good.
Simply put, I think the city manager is doing what needs to be done. I think he's given to us the best possible chance to do that. He's indicated that he's gone to certain lengths, going to this company that we went to, the best possible person, the closest person he could, for a decent price, and it's saying maybe 6 months, which would be half the cost, is $75,000. Now, what is it going to cost us a few dollars more to put someone in a hotel who's going to get us out of financial bind in the next 2 to 3 months that we have to finish a budget by September the 31st? Just doesn't make sense.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Point of order is, if you're going to enter into the debate, you have to release the chair to the mayor pro tem.
No, sir, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Councilmember Hamilton?
I would like to take advantage of the recommendation from Councilmember Freeman and make a motion that this contract to have a checkpoint at 3 months and a checkpoint at 6 months, so that the individual understands that there's an opportunity that this contract may not last for the entire 12 months. Job are doing, but that's the motion on the floor.
Okay, there's a motion for an amendment, and everybody will get a chance to speak. You'll get a chance to speak, Councilmember Scott. You will. There's a motion for an amendment.
But
Go ahead, Councilmember Scott. Look, I will break the rules for you. Sir, go ahead.
thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. We are talking about the amount of money, again, that the city manager is going to be paying out for this position. Now, we hired the city manager to come in here, do a job that's going to take care of all the mistakes that we've had in finance. We've had a lot of problems in finance. That he may need somebody, 6 months, that's fine. And he needs someone right away. We cannot try to wait or set up a process for hiring somebody. He has somebody in place. He's done all the background, all the investigation. He will have to make the decision, is this person
adequate or not. We gave him this position. We brought him here to do the job. It's very important for us to support him in trying to do his job. Now, again, I know a lot of people are concerned about the contract of 12 years. But if city manager, if you feel that you can use this person in 6 months and you can make sure that you keep up with what's going on, and hit the work and report back to council, I think we should give you a chance to allow you to bring this person in, because we need to get this budget, get it done now, and we need to trust your judgment of who you're going to be using to put in place to take care of these financial issues that we have. So I'm in full support of who you choose. I have some concerns about the contract over 12 months, but if you 3 to 6 months and let us know where you're going with this, I'm fine with it. And I think that we as council should support you in what you're trying to do and try to get accomplished, because we brought you in here with what we realize. Now you're realizing things that exist, and you taking steps to move forward to make this city move forward. So I agree 100% what you're trying to do. So I support you.
Madam Mayor, if I
And so
may.
that you don't go away thinking that people are not supporting you, I support you also, but I have my opinion about this contract, and it's my opinion. Yes, sir.
Very quickly, in 3 months, I won't be able to do it. Very often, for a professional position like this, you have to professional publications, things like that. It'll take me another 30 days to get interviews done. It'll take somebody who's already working someplace else another 30 days to give notice. It will not be done in three months unless I can find somebody who's unemployed or something along those lines. So I would very much be agreeable to a 6 months, knowing that if for some reason a little bit more time, I'll come back to the council for some more time. Thank you.
And that, so the,
Thank you for
so
your
the
support.
dollars will
I really
change.
appreciate it.
Dollars will change, we know that. So, council, you want to go in and restate your
The
amendment?
motion on the floor, we're
The
asking,
amendment, go ahead.
is to amend the contract for 6 months. Manager will come back to council for a review, and at that time, we'll have the opportunity to hear his voice on whether the contract needs to be ended or extended for another 6 months, or however many months he recommends at that time.
I know that's your amendment. Can we add to it that you would immediately start looking, can you,
Mayor, absolutely, we are going to do that.
thank you.
So that would be doing that anyway.
No. Go ahead.
To include that the manager also begins his search for a permanent director.
Okay, there's an amendment on the floor, as stated by Councilmember Hamilton, to amend the contract for council for a review within 6 months, and to include that the manager begins search for a permanent finance director. I need a second. Councilmember Freeman.
Second.
It's been proposed resolution number 19069 to include that amendment. City Secretary, would you do a roll call for the vote, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Frank,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis, Councilmember Mosley, Councilmember Scott, Councilmember Swatting, Mayor Prince.
Yes.
Measure passes.
Thank you.
The amendment passes.
The amendment passes. We're going to go back to the original resolution with the amendment in it. It's been moved and second that we approve proposed resolution number 19069 with the amendment. City Secretary, would you do a roll call for the vote?
Tim Frank,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis, Councilmember Mosley, Councilmember Scott,
Yes.
Councilmember Swatting,
Yes.
Mayor Prince.
Yes.
Measure passes as amended.
Thank you.